And now, as we promised before the break, here is the beautiful gal, Miss Janet Tyson with Eddy Raven. Janet?
Thanks, Porter. Now, let's see. Let me practice my Cajun here. I'll say the only thing I know in Cajun. Laissez-les bon temps rouler.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's...
Is that close?
Yeah, laissez-les bon temps rouler. That means let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll, and that's what we're going to do tonight.
We can do that.
Good to see you.
How are you doing?
It's nice to have you back at the Opry.
Yeah, right, at least close to the back door.
Well, yeah, you sneak in and sneak out.
Yeah,
Gonna
right.
kick up some fun on stage.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's going to be fun. It's always fun, the Opry.
Good.
Opry's really nice.
Well, as most people know, you were born in Lafayette, Louisiana, which makes you a official Cajun.
Oh, yeah. I'm official, and I've got one of those official documents,
Do you have a card to prove it? Is that card-carrying Cajun here?
You're right.
But you lived a lot of places. You've lived all over the country and absorbed a lot of musical influences from other parts of these United States.
Yeah, my dad was a truck driver and moved us around quite a bit. So we lived in Florida, Georgia, and Louisiana. So, I learned a lot about country music, and a lot about rhythm and blues, and a lot about the New Orleans type island music, I guess you might call it, and what that particular blend of black and Cajun and Creole and native music there. So, yeah.
Well, it was a style that was all your own for sure. At one point, I heard or I saw that you used to talk about your music as being reggae Cajun. Is that?
Yeah.
Was that just a fluke, or was that just a passing fancy one time, or is that a good way to kind of describe overall the sound that you did?
That's probably a pretty good definition of how I feel about how I feel about it and the way it came out. A lot of times it's the Cajun music has there's a lot of island influence in some of the New Orleans music. If you listen to the Nevilles and the guys from down home there, there's a whole lot of that in it. And along with the French New Orleans influence. New Orleans in itself is such a mixing spot, and there's so many different influences there. So then you take that particular mixture, and then you come up with someone like the Nevilles, and mix that with some other things, and you've got quite a jambalaya of music.
That's exactly that's a good way to describe what you have done with your music over the years. You've been kicking around in Nashville for quite some time.
Yeah.
Now you came here to write for Acuff Rose, is that right?
I came here. I signed up with Acuff Rose. I think it was 1969 or 70. I signed with Acuff Rose, and Jimmy C. Newman was the guy that really opened the doors for me and brought me to Wesley, and I signed with Wesley, and I wrote with them for 13 years, and had a lot of success with Don Gibson, Jeannie C. Riley, and those people in the early days as a writer. And then I moved here in '72, and Don Gant talked me into moving here. He was working for Wesley, and he started producing me at ABC. And at ABC at that time, they had Jimmy Buffett, the Amazing Rhythm Aces, Delbert McClinton, and Billy Crash Craddock, and so a lot of us didn't get out of the stall too much. But that's where it began for me in Nashville with Acuff Rose and then ABC, and then went on from.
Well, we were looking over your discography before we went on tonight, and there's just a long list of songs that have been hits for you, starting at ABC. Are any of those records still available? They must be collector's items.
Yeah, there's one called The Best Of, which is our first big national album. We had an album in Louisiana, a Cajun album, but the first album was called, I think it's This Is Eddy Raven on ABC Dot, and the fan club has it. Our fan club in Hendersonville has it. You can get some through that. The Elektra album is also one of the discontinued ones, Desperate Dreams. And I think we may have some of those. There was one album called Eyes, which was on Dimension, and it's no longer available either. So
you've got some greatest hits albums out, some greatest hits collections out, though, too, that people can find.
Yeah, all of a sudden I woke up one day and had 5 greatest hits albums, and I said, this is strange.
It tells you a lot about how many hits you've had in your career, too. I mean, there was just...
You don't realize the songs that you've recorded until you look back one day and start checking things out. But we have a best of package or greatest hits package on MCA. We have one on Curb Records. We have one on Warner, and we have one on RCA, the best of, and we have a Liberty one that came out just recently with, so it's been real good. It's nice to have those packages.
Those years that you spent at Electra RCA, that's the
Yeah.
same house basically, you had, gosh, we should have counted them up, but so many top 10 hits. I Got Mexico.
Yeah. We had our first number one was I Got Mexico. And before that, at Electra was Who Do You Know in California, and I Should Have Called, and A Little Bit Crazy.
Yeah.
And then at RCA was Mexico, I Could Use Another You, Should Have Been Gone By Now, Till You Cry,
Well,
Operator,
two of the
Operator.
songs you're going to do in the Opry tonight were big
Yeah.
hits for you during the time that you were there.
Yeah, I think we're doing Bayou Boys.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing
Letter
In a
to
Letter to
You?
You, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are two songs that Barry Beckett produced.
Bayou Boys was one of my favorites. I mean,
Thank you.
that song just puts you right down there in that part of the country, and it's
Yeah.
a wild,
It's
spirited
a time that will
song.
probably never come again, you know. It's
You never know.
You know, there used to be a strip right out of Lafayette that every time I do that song, I think of this place. There was like there's a place called the Bayou Room, and there was a place. There was 3 or 4 places owned by the same guy, and there was a whole bunch of clubs there, and they were open all night. I mean, we played at those clubs, and they'd have bands 24 all night long. Saturday afternoon until Sunday morning, you could go dance and play, and had a restaurant on the side you could eat. You know, so you could just spend all your money there and all your time, get all the fights you want to get into. You know, there's enough fights for everybody. But I'm not saying anything that most people don't know. Those kind of, you know, if you've been out and about.
Yeah. Well, it's good for you to join us tonight. We're happy to have you here, and until I see you the next time, laissez-les, bon temps roulé.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I appreciate that, and I will definitely do that.
All right. We're going to be back with more Opry Backstage with Del Reeves right after this.